Hello everyone and welcome back to the Blackfoot Book Club and another volume of my essential film reviews collection. Welcome back everyone and thank you so much for being there. This is Once Upon a Time in Hollywood from 2019, directed by the one, the only, Quentin Tarantino. As is now customary, Django Unchained and the Hateful Eight. My brother Andy and I saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood on opening night together, and when the cinema lights were raised, accompanying the old school Batman theme that begins the closing credits of the film, we were in love with Quentin Tarantino's latest creation, but we weren't quite sure why. I returned the following day to watch it all over again, and saw it in back-to-back showings. This completed the jigsaw. I'd already understood the general themes of the film, as well as it being a love letter to a place, a vibe, a creation, a life, and an industry with which Quentin has been thoroughly ensconced within since his earliest years. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was yet another of Quentin's rewriting of history. See Django Unchained and Inglorious Basterds. But here it's arguable, when compared to the horrific events it reverses. It's more subtle, personal, heartwarming, human, and indeed, glorious. The final piece of the jigsaw for me was perhaps the second to last scripted line of the entire film. There's one follow-up line and partially inaudible dialogue shortly after, but when our supposed hero here states, "Hey, you're a good friend, Cliff," it really does summarise and gather together all that is truly magnificent for this, Quentin Tarantino's 9th film. For it is a film about 1969, the height of the summer of love, and what some writers then declared to be the end of innocence, with the grisly Hollywood murders by anything but a self-proclaimed family who followed Charles Manson. It's a love affair with a Hollywood and film industry pre the dirty and grimy grindhouse cinemas of the late 1970s, the excess of the 1980s, and the tiptoeing into an early 1990s Quentin himself would dominate. It's part Western and part of his trilogy of Westerns, and it's also brilliantly part horror film for a 20-minute segment midway through. As the opening bars of that old school Batman theme begin, you also have a catharsis, which is as rare in a Tarantino film as the obvious strands of every relationship being tied up and neatly arranged, not left hanging or referring to a scene in the film an hour and a half ago. The beautiful ending juxtaposes with the visceral violence that precedes it, but whilst horribly graphic, it is but a pinprick in time compared to the outrageously brilliant film that comes before it. And then you have that line about being a good friend, and the overarching theme of friendships is pleasingly magnified. As is de rigueur in a Quentin Tarantino film, the cast list is a huge catalogue of either A-listers returning to work with the cinematic genius, or actors and actresses on the precipice of stardom. Al Pacino is, well, pleasingly very Al Pacino, as he roars his way through a cameo appearance as a Hollywood agent or casting director, and his joint scenes with an on-edge Leonardo DiCaprio a true joy. I'll pick out returnees to a Tarantino film for a teaser taster. Kurt Russell stars as both the film's narrator and put upon Hollywood director Randy Lloyd, Zoe Bell as his acidic, tongued wife Janet Lloyd, and Bruce Dern as the befuddled owner of the now infamous Spahn movie ranch, George Spahn, whilst I reserve special praise for a blink and you'll miss him cameo from Damian Lewis as Steve McQueen. Damian Lewis is naturally superb, but it's the background to his brief scenes that are so crucially important to observe and digest. Here are your trio of Hollywood headline acts. Friendship is everything, and personified by these three impeccable, believable, and brilliantly crafted performances that garnered 2 Oscar nominations and 1 win amongst the 10 overall nods for this film. Rick Dalton, Leonardo DiCaprio. Fresh from his outlandish star turn as a slaver, plantation owner and self-styled chronologist Calvin Candy in Tarantino's Django Unchained, DiCaprio returns here as a self-obsessed, ungrateful and on the verge of being a washed-up has-been actor who could and should have had it all. He actually does. He just doesn't know it yet. Living in the Hollywood Hills and universally known for his TV performances, he continues to chase for a life that is right on his doorstep and with all the friends he could possibly desire. He just doesn't know it yet. DiCaprio was rightly Oscar nominated for his magnificent performance. Cliff Booth, Brad Pitt, the human heart and soul of the film, despite a murky past that is hinted at in the film and further explored within the book written by Tarantino that both accompanies the film as well as expanding on it significantly. Cliff is a World War II veteran, Green Beret, decorated soldier and all-around American hero. He's also Rick Dalton's stunt double, somewhat personal valet, caretaker, an actual and very embarrassing physical shoulder to cry on, and beyond the hinted at grisly backstory and his own rooftop dreams of fighting Bruce Lee, he's Rick Dalton's best friend and the film's beating heart of the friendship through line. Brad Pitt infused this late 60s carefree, almost stoner-like character with even more laid-back charm and the warmest of smiles. He was playing with the house's money, and he won a deserved Oscar. Sharon Tate, Margot Robbie, the absolute sunshine of the film. Friends with absolutely everyone as she lives the carefree life of a 60s actress and pregnant with her film director husband's baby. Forever dancing, smiling, listening to music, Robbie is shot obsessively when singly in a scene, be it a relaxed stroll to a bookshop or the close-ups of her and her feet at her local cinema. A sublime performance to match the rewriting of the last weeks of Sharon Tate's life. Here's the thing with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. The above mentioned book is a must if you adore this film anywhere near the levels of your humble yet QT obsessed narrator here. Cliff's character is heavily expanded upon, but pick a favourite scene of the film and there's a high probability that scene will be given far more intriguing colour and background in the book. Secondly, the film's soundtrack follows the tradition of every Tarantino film and absolutely stunning. It's a slice of time in 1969, complete with genuine radio inserts and adverts of the time, but track 29, You Keep Me Hanging On, and a Tarantino edit no less, is an essential listen. It's goddamn beautiful and brilliantly used within the film. And so I now love this film on a level that threatens Jackie Brown as my favourite Quentin Tarantino film. Pulp Fiction remains my second favourite all-time film, yet Jackie Brown isn't the #1 all-time favourite. Twisted logic, I know, but we're all friends here. So pull up a chair and light up a red apple cigarette, but be careful, there's a surprise one dipped in acid. And I'll tell you all about my favourite all-time film, or we could just go to Minnie's Haberdashery or Jack Rabbit Slim's for a $5 shake and talk all things gloriously Quentin Tarantino. It's what friends are for. And that was Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, directed by the one, the only Quentin Tarantino. I live in peace and in solidarity. Thank you so much for watching. See you again soon. Thanks again for watching, everyone. Peace.